Hey guys, welcome to CryptoCoach day 63, I believe. So, first thing you'll probably notice, remember when I ordered those things on Purse.io, I kind of walked you through it, and I set it up to only do a 5% discount, which only saved me like $4 so that I can get it quickly. Well, as you can see, I have the microphone here, so you should be able to hear me a lot better now. It's out here so you can actually see it. And I got a stand that actually comes with a remote Bluetooth little clicker that lets me start and stop videos too. So it worked. Here's actually all the junk here with all the box of the book, and kind of just got home, so it's kind of like opening up Christmas presents again. Anyway, yeah, I'm back from the convention. It's kind of hard to come up with things to talk about sometimes, but this convention that I went to, yeah, it's a fantasy art convention. I'm a nerd, but I haven't been to one of these things in about 4 years at least, maybe even longer. And back then was really when I was still kind of struggling financially, still kind of starting up my whole investment. And well, I wasn't starting. It was for a while at that point, but I was not really near anywhere where I am right now. So one thing I did kind of notice, though, unfortunately, and this is like everybody wants to be successful, everybody wants to be wealthy and rich and all that kind of stuff. But my coach JT says something often, which is that it's well, in short, he just says that there's plenty of room at the top. It's the bottom that's crowded. And really, when he talks about it, he's like he mainly talks about how it's not, well, it's hard to get up to the higher level, but there's plenty of room for everybody to be up there. So everybody, kind of in a sense of that everybody should strive to be successful, because there's still a lot of room for successful people at the top. It's at the very bottom where everybody's just doing their jobs, or especially minimum wage and other kind of crappy paycheck to paycheck jobs. That's the area that's crowded. But in another sense, I've noticed is that once you do start to make a lot of money, you start moving out to become an entrepreneur, an investor, you start having more opportunities, different interests. That also unfortunately means that you will lose interests that you might have had with other types of people you used to hang out with. I am almost over my cold, thank God, just in time for my trip. But back to that, you've probably haven't noticed if it's been kind of your routine thing, but a lot of the topics that are discussed by I guess the people that you end up leaving behind would be things like issues with your job, issues with your boss, issues with having financial difficulties, issues with, like, one thing that always struck me is that people talking about taking trips of a lifetime. So like, oh, I'm going to Disney World, it's going to be a trip to a lifetime. I'm going to Paris or Rome, trip of a lifetime. And that always depresses me, because it's like, that means that that's going to be one time that you manage to do something in your life, and that's it. I mean, that's like, if that's the peak of your life, what are you going to do after that? I mean, I've been to a lot of those places. I haven't been to Paris yet, but I'm leaving to Paris tomorrow, actually. And the other thing that I might talk about is I've seen this interesting movie, or I've played this game. And I do go to movies, but like a lot of people talk about video games and other kind of time wasters, I guess. And I don't really have much time to do that. So, I mean, I'm kind of busy. So you end up kind of drifting apart, unfortunately, with not having a lot of things in common with other people of the same kind of level that you used to be as you grow. while as you grow, you will start making new friends in new friends in higher places, as they say. But on the other hand, you'll end up with interests that not a lot of people, unfortunately, will be able to relate, just because they might not have the time or the resources to do those things. So you kind of, unfortunately, end up drifting off. I guess in a way, it's kind of like you might have your drinking buddies that you go out with, or just people or your girls you hang out with or whatever, but then you end up having kids, and then it's a totally different situation, and you can no longer, people with kids can no longer relate to people without, because they have different goals, different things, different amounts of free time and different opportunities. And in this sense, it's kind of similar, I guess. As you move up in your investments and wealth and have different opportunities in class, you end up with different opportunities. Like, stuff I enjoy doing is I travel a lot. I came back from London a little while ago. I went to Pittsburgh for this convention. Tomorrow I'm flying out to Paris for a week, and then after I come back, I think the following week, I have a bit of a break, and then I am going to Florida for another week, and this time I'm going to be working on my plane. So I travel a lot. I'm a beekeeper. A lot of people don't have time or resources to do that. I'm a pilot. I like airplanes. I'm building my own plane. I like flying planes. I like investments. I like certain types of, I guess, business-oriented politics, you could describe them. I like economics. I like world news. I like business in general. But those are kind of the topics that most of the, I guess you could say, average people are not involved with. So you can't really discuss them with them, because either they will not get them or be interested in them, or worse, they will consider them as these are like rich people topics that nobody else cares about. Like, there's been many times when I would talk about, like, hey, I'm getting a plane, and if anybody wants to get a ride or whatever, hit me up. I'll be happy to give people rides. But people generally have this kind of, they hate success because it makes them feel like they themselves, I guess, have not succeeded or are failures. So what they do is consciously or subconsciously, they start tearing people down. So when I said, hey, I'm getting a plane, anybody want to ride? The first thing that somebody in the group said is like, hey, some of us can't even afford to pay our own food, and started tearing me down for, I guess, bragging or whatever. I mean, maybe, but that is actually a very stark difference I've noticed between the old group I used to hang out with and the new group I'm in now. In the old group, if anybody starts to build things, build themselves, build their business, and talks about it, like, hey, look at me, I made all this stuff, and I made this money, and I built this business up, a lot of times people would try to tear you down. In a new group that I'm starting to join, anybody talks about business or building something or creating or earning a whole bunch of money on the deal, everybody else in a Facebook group and in person are like, yay, keep going, this is great, and they just keep cheering him up. So, one group, somebody starts climbing down, they grab them and they pull them back down. It's a crab mentality. The other group, somebody starts climbing up and they reach under and start pushing him up, like, how can I help? Keep going, this is great. So totally different mentalities. Unfortunately, back to where I started from, as JT says, there's plenty of room at the top. It's the bottom that's crowded. That also means that at the top there's really not a lot of people. So once you get up there, it's much harder to find people, I guess, you can relate to, or that have similar interest to you. Because well, when I say, you know, the 1%, there's a reason that the 1% is the 1%, and that reason is mostly because 1% of the people have that kind of interest and drive and skills and energy, whereas 99% of the people do not. So another way you could say about what's at the top is that it's also a little lonely at the top. So if you do decide to take the path to start investing, to grow your wealth, to become wealthy, keep in mind that you will lose friends, you will drift apart, you will end up having to find new friends, and it might not be as easy as before. So, you know, find circles, masterminds, like JT Fox's business group is a great mastermind. Find, you know, business investment circles nearby, people with kind of like interest. They're looking there. I mean, they're out there, they're looking for other people to connect. It's actually funny, one of the things that I've noticed going to business conferences is that a lot of the successful people, they come, they talk, and then they just kind of hang out on their own. And partly it's because people who go to these conferences, they look at these successful business achievers type, and they think, oh my God, this guy built so much, and I'm just a nobody. Like, what am I going to talk to him? So everybody's always afraid and shy to come up and talk to him. While those guys who are actually in the business, who built it up, who just finished talking, are standing there alone thinking, like, damn, I'm freaking lonely. Nobody wants to talk to me. Like, you know, they would be very happy to have, this is actually successful people in general. They're very happy to talk about what they did. They're very happy to, like, spread their knowledge, teach others, not just to brag, but because they want to bring others up to be able to do the same stuff they do. Because again, there's a lot of room at the top, and it's also a little lonely at the top. So, and the people who actually do a lot very well in building wealth, what drives them is not really money, it's being able to accomplish things in life. And the way I look at money and the way money typically tends to work is the more people you help, the better off you are. So money is kind of, I actually look at money as a side effect to helping others. So yeah, if you find yourself at a business conference and there's a very successful person, don't be shy, go talk to them. They're probably lonely and they probably want to talk to somebody and talk about what they did and how they did it and pass their knowledge on to you. And same with me, like, I am very happy to coach people. I'm very happy to show people how to do what I did. And as I unfortunately found out going to this convention, which 6 years ago I loved it, 4 years ago it was still great. Now the weekend kind of went by and I felt like kind of out of place because unfortunately I couldn't relate to most people who were there. But no, oh well. Anyway, sorry, not much to talk about. Tomorrow we'll be packing up and then driving to the airport and flying out overnight to Paris. Still living a dream. Traveling a lot. Paris was one of the things I wanted to do on my, it's probably on everybody's to-do list. And it's something I'll be doing, so we'll see how that goes. I'll still be doing videos while I'm over there, maybe in person someplace where you can see some of the nice scenery. We'll be happy to share. But anyway, for now, I'm gonna pack up and go to bed so I can get up early and start getting ready. So anyway, good night.